Friday edition, orange and blue today, and we are on the eve of rookie minicamp where Mace, you and I are going to have a shared moment, and we're going to go to the locker room for the first time since it's closed. I mean, so exciting, and of course excited to see Mr. Bo Nix, number 10 on the field, number 1 in your hearts, Broncos country.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's about like being excited to go in the locker room, but it's exciting to talk to this new generation of players. Every year you get new blood in there. I think it just like the flowers blooming along the front range in the springtime, and it fuels the optimism a little bit. It's an exciting moment, and it's also exciting to watch ball because we get to see Bo Nix running Sean Payton's offense for the first time. Now we've seen elements of that, certain plays that were in the Oregon scheme. That was something that we heard from Kenny Dillingham about a few days ago, but now we actually get to see it. And I'm guessing there are going to be some moments on Saturday morning, midday Saturday, as we watch the practice, where we're like, yep, this is how it's supposed to look.
Yes, on time, on rhythm. Maybe we'll ask him about Haas Juke, the favorite play stolen from Sean Payton to put in the Oregon offense. Like, it's going to be fun, and we get to witness the birth of what we hope is greatness. And that's why when people say, oh, it's just practice, you guys getting all excited. No. This is the first time we get to see Bo Nix in a Broncos helmet. And brother, I am over the moon and can't wait for Saturday.
They're going to be the new helmets too, right? We presume all the new helmets with the triangles. We talked about the triangle that Bo Nix can see in coverage yesterday.
Right.
It's like the dawning of a new era. Here's what I wonder. What are the practice jerseys going to look like?
Exactly. Like, what are the numbers going to look like? We're going to know all of these things. And it is important because this is their debut for these young players. Now, Mace, I have a surprise for you today, and I have a surprise for Sean Payton on Saturday. Do you know what it is?
What is
I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask Sean Payton, and I'm going to phrase it this way. You know, what are you looking to get out of this rookie minicamp? And, you know, what do you need to see from these players? And I'm going to ask basically, are there any Walter Thomases here? Now, Walter Thomas was a defensive tackle come out years ago. I saw him at the Texas First Nation game in 2007, and he was at Oklahoma State and then like went to Mississippi Valley Community College, something like that. He was 380 pounds. He could do a backflip. Okay. Yep. The Saints pick him up as UDFA. Sean Payton cut him in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. So you took this guy that performed well in an all-star game, had this buzz around him. The New York Times had a story on him that I was quoted in about Walter Thomas. And then he was cut in 15 minutes, base. So Sean Payton, he's going to know because he can see it quickly. And obviously with Walter Thomas, he saw it. And in 15 minutes, he was like, you're out of here.
That is wild. I have to find this story in which you were quoted.
Yes,
it's funny because as you were talking about him, I'm looking at a post that was on Reddit a few years ago. And it was on the Saints subreddit. Remember the obsession over Walter Flippin' Thomas, the flip.
Yep.
You know, remember Marcus Thomas could do a backflip as well for the Broncos about that same
Another
time.
Texas versus the Nation guy.
But he played 5 years. Of course, the Broncos traded out of their entire final 4 rounds of the draft to get him, and they were done. We get Walter Thomas, 6'4", listed anywhere from 340 to 375. Could run 4.9 in the 40 despite being at that weight. Bench press 475, squat 800. Oh,
he's a physical specimen. But when people say it's just practice, Mace, I go, Sean Payton cut a guy in 15 minutes. I'll quote Friday and be like, how you get fired on your day off?
Yes, because this was from the Associated Press at the time. Sean Payton said Thomas was so out of shape they need to visit the training room for treatment after about 15 minutes of the first practice.
We're talking about practice.
Yes. So. Well, here's the thing. You've got a lot of these players that are adjusting to mile-high elevation. So you do learn something about their conditioning.
Yep.
Maybe if it was rough for Walter Thomas down there near sea level in Metairie, Louisiana, what would it have been like for Walter Thomas at a mile high?
Right. So Sean Payton's going to see these guys. He's going to put his eyes on them. And yeah, it's rookie mini camp. Yes, it's just practice. Yes, but the thing is, Mace, I think everything you do is important in football because the one eye in the sky, that camera they got on you, that's going to tell you about your work habits. That's going to tell you about your professionalism. And these young men are going to have to prove themselves right away, or they can get cut in 15 minutes. I don't think that's ever been, it's never been a story since. I've never heard of it, but it happened.
Cut that quickly. Now,
and it happened because of Sean Payton.
You've had players that have been like, I'm out. Like,
yes, right.
This is something that actually, like a day or like the entire rookie mini camp. That's, gosh, who was the player the Broncos signed a few years ago?
Yes. I remember, and there's been
defensive
a few
lineman. I think he was a defensive lineman, right?
Mm-hmm. And he just chose to not play football again. So it does happen. It happens around the league, but that's usually after a day or maybe even through the rookie mini camp. A guy will show up, do the rookie mini camp, and then all of a sudden just be like, you know what? I'm not going to play football. And there is a healthy group of undrafted free agents in addition to this draft class, Mace. And you just want to see what kind of shape are they in? How dedicated are they to this craft? Because it's a whole other level now. College was one thing. College was college. But this is a whole other level when you enter the pros and a Sean Payton system, especially.
Exactly. And the other thing is you have a fleet of players coming in for tryouts because you want to be able to run an offense and a defense. So that's part of why you bring players in for tryouts. Because for this rookie minicamp, it's rookies and that's first year players who didn't reach a threshold in terms of playing time.
Right. So, remember Benny Snell was here last year. Remember that? We were in the bubble watching practice hey, that's Benny Snell. He still can't play.
Yes.
But you're going to have tryout players, and the tryout may mean, I guess I don't like playing football anymore.
Yeah, because last year, for example, to just go through the list of undrafted players, there were 4 guys the Broncos signed as undrafted players. They were officially signed on May 12th before rookie minicamp. By May 15th, gone. Do you remember Dallas Daniels, Darius Gaines, Chris Leach, and Emmanuel Wilson? All ziggied right after rookie minicamp.
Yep.
And in their places were guys like Ben DiNucci, who had a tryout, did well. Jacques Patrick, a running back that they had in on a tryout basis. That's what you see. The other thing that'll happen is, and this is another thing that you see out of rookie minicamp and the aftermath of your draft picks signing their contracts as well. You will see some haircuts. Back end of the 90-player roster, there are going to be some players who get released. It was actually about this time last year. Remember Jacob Martin, the edge rusher, who the Broncos got back, they got the trade deadline after they traded Bradley Chubb. They need another edge, and they brought in Jacob Martin, of course, a local product, and he got cut right before rookie minicamp as well, just because they were trying to make moves. And of course, Ben DiNucci was kind of that guy.
Yeah, there's your haircut, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to see these guys for the first time at rookie minicamp. And you mentioned Bo Nix, of course, because we always talk about Bo Nix and the arm talent. Well, arm strength is one thing. I can't wait to see some passes zipped, but we're going to see it from field level again in a better run practice. Sorry, Senior Bowl. And I want to play this clip from Mark Schlereth where he talks about arm talent and how that's different from arm strength. Bo Nix has arm talent. Here's what Stink had to say.
No, Jay Cutler had great arm talent. How'd that work out? That is, if you throw with anticipation and on time, you know what you can make up for? Lack of supreme arm talent. Brock Purdy doesn't have supreme arm talent. There's a lot of did Tom Brady have supreme arm talent? Did
Peyton Manning?
Did Drew Brees?
No.
Peyton Manning? I mean, Phillip Rivers, did he have supreme arm talent? So stop with the arm talent thing.
Stop it. Stop, says Stink. And it's
Stop with the arm talent thing. It's overrated. I would also say this. I think we need to redefine arm talent because when we say arm talent, we're just talking about the ability to chuck it around and throw deep
He's got a
outside
rocket
numbers
arm.
By that definition, Drake May has arm talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things that was so intriguing about him. Can arm talent not involve accuracy? I think it should. I think that's part of
placement.
Accuracy and placement. These are essential tools to a quarterback succeeding in the league. So, we've been sitting on that clip for a while.
It's a good clip
from Stink. It's a good clip, and it makes a lot of sense. Drew Locke had arm talent. Oh, did he? I mean, he had very good arm talent. Now, not Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler had just a freaking howitzer.
Yes.
And it probably kept him in the league a little longer than otherwise. Actually, it was one of the reasons why I think he lasted so long in Chicago, because he played 7 seasons with the Bears to gradually diminishing returns after those first couple of years. That second year, of course, they went all the way to the NFC Championship game, and then their longtime nemesis, the Green Bay Packers, stood in their way. But with Cutler, the arm talent and arm strength, I should say, arm strength that he had, it allowed him to cut through the capricious and often heavy winds of Soldier Field right there on the shore of Lake Michigan. So he was kind of well suited for a place he went to that's notoriously difficult for a quarterback in which to throw. But the thing is, he couldn't always take something off his fastball. Joe Milton, we've talked about him. My goodness, that dude's got arm strength. You'd say, and they'd say arm talent. But then watch him try to throw a screen pass, and it's like, whoa! Like, you don't know if that thing's going to go in the second row or not.
Right, exactly.
My face just freeze up like
your face froze on the whoa. Whoa! I was like,
we'll see if that shows up in the actual show.
I hope
that
was sweet. Absolutely sweet. Well, and that's why pass placement, Bo Nix has an understanding of how to maximize things. You mentioned Drew Brees. Ask Michael Thomas how much arm talent Drew Brees had, because if we truly define arm talent correctly, he's a slant god because he's getting the ball in stride and on the proper shoulder. He's not having to fight for it or reach back for it, or it's too high or it's too low. It's on the money and it's leading me the right way. A quarterback is a symphony, can just organize things with the where he throws the ball and the placement that he has. Bo Nix already has that. I look forward to seeing flashes of that on Saturday.
Yeah, and seeing that show up. I do wonder this. You and I have talked about the struggles that he had under center at the Senior Bowl. Will the Broncos try to force that on him early, or will they just let him get comfortable? And on Saturday, we maybe just see shotgun. Scat, shotgun, right? Of course, we talked about the scat protection, which is where, you basically go, it's just the 5 offensive linemen there in protection, everybody else going out. You don't have a running back or a fullback staying in to protect. You don't have a tight end chipping. Everybody's going out and running a route. The goal is somebody is open quickly, and you've got the ball out on time, delivered before the pass rush gets there, because a response to, the scat protection is, all right, well, you know what? We're going to try to get there first. We're going to A gap this, right? And just try, and we're going to try to collapse the A gap. We're going to maybe have, we're going to go, 3 guys, and we're going to maybe 2 of them concentrate on 1 A gap, and you force some issues for the guard, and maybe you force some issues for Alex Forsythe if he ends up being the center. So these are the things that you have to do. But if you get the ball out quickly, if a team blitzes when you go into scat protection, somebody's open. And if you identify that player quickly, they're open, they have space, yardage after the catch happens. And then teams think again before they blitz like that, which is also why a lot of the great quarterbacks, if you look at their numbers when they're blitzed, they're higher than they are when you're not blitzed, when you're just under typical pressure or you have a clean pocket. The best quarterbacks can exploit that blitz. Is Bo Nix going to be able to do that? And if he can do that with scat protection, he's executing an element of the Sean Payton offense that Drew Brees did so well as he went in later on in his career.
Yeah, and you mentioned the blitz. You don't blitz Pat Mahomes because he'll kill you. You
Right.
couldn't blitz Peyton Manning because he'll kill you. Is Bo Nix with Sean Payton one of those guys like, you better get pressure with 4 because you better not blitz this kid. He knows where to go with the ball.
Yeah, and if they're only pressuring with 4 and everyone else is concentrating on coverage, that's something that Bo Nix can exploit as well, because the other thing that he has is the ability to take off and run. And so does somebody stay home to account for that potential of an explosive run, and that creates a gap in coverage. There are some intriguing aspects to the skill set here that really make you excited. By the way, Bo Nix, not the only quarterback who's going to be there at this rookie minicamp. You're going to have John Matoka on a tryout.
There you go.
He is from Colorado School of Mines.
Right.
I hope this goes better for him than, and this is going into Wayback Machine. Do you recall training camp 05? A Colorado School of Mines quarterback, a very tall fellow named Chad Freehoff.
Oh, of course, yes.
And that year, I think the Broncos had, of course, Jake Plummer, Bradley Van Pelt. I think they had Matt Mock coming back. Matt Mock, who eventually became a dentist, although he briefly started with Tennessee eventually. And then they bring in Freehoff, and he gets his chance. And I believe it was like there were back-to-back interceptions, and then maybe there was another one a few plays later, and we didn't see much from Freehoff after that. His only preseason snaps involved kneel down.
Right.
So victory formation. So I hope it goes better for Matoka than it did for Freehoff way back in the day.
And Matoka can sling it, so that'll be fun to watch there. Also, what else will be fun to watch? The vision for Audric Estime. And as a runner in practice, we don't get to see him break tackles. So his true power is taken away. But Mace, we get to see something that I think is a bit underrated, his receiving skill. In addition to Blake Watson, we are certainly reconnecting with Blake Watson on Saturday in the locker room. Be like, dude, saw you in Dallas. Love that you're here. Watson catching passes, Estime catching passes, and Bo Nix, you mentioned with the scat. Okay. Sometimes it's going to be that dump off, a well-placed, check down to a running back that can get you first downs.
Well, we're talking about Samaje Perine potentially not making the 53 in part because of the running backs that you've brought in. Well, here's the thing. If you move on from Samaje Perine, you've got to replace 50-plus receptions from last year.
Interesting
number. Where are they coming from?
The guy who had 50-plus catches last year, 2 backs in college football, FBS, Bucky Irving and Blake Watson.
Now, Audric Estime last year, 17 catches, 142 yards, no touchdowns. Over the last 2 years, 26 receptions, 200, and 77 yards, 1 touchdown. So he had a 36 yarder. That's his long, but this is a guy who the last couple of years, not extensive work as a pass catcher, but 10 yards a catch. Part of that is if you get the ball to him outside, someone of his build is going to be very difficult to tackle. Like we talk about Javonte Williams pre-knee injury with the angry runs. There could be some angry receptions and angry yardage after the catch for Audric Estime if he can flourish as a pass catcher. Blake Watson is more of the guy that's going to make you miss. Kind of like Jaleel McLaughlin. You hope he's the guy that can make people miss in space. Audric Estime is the one who, in space, if he's involved in the passing game, is going to run over you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of pucker factor. And those short passes are long handoffs. Another way to use his power, and you use it in space in a one-on-one situation. I like it.
That's as old as you and I, practically, the notion of short passes to the running backs as long handoffs. I think it was Bill Walsh who first.
It's the Bill Walsh thing. Yep.
Really established that theory not even in San Francisco. He was establishing that in Cincinnati when he was working on Paul Brown's staff in the early 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, by the way, alternate football history. What if when Paul Brown had retired, Bill Walsh had gotten that job and not Tiger Johnson, Bill Johnson, but everyone called him Tiger Johnson. Man, that's an alternate history right there. What would the Bengals, how regarded would the Bengals be as a franchise if they'd held on to Bill Walsh?
Right.
Kenny Anderson would certainly be in the Hall of Fame because I'm pretty sure Kenny would have won a Super Bowl, at least one.
Yes.
With Bill Walsh.
Kenny could get you there and then have Boomer take over afterwards. It'd be different.
Or might they have been looking for a different quarterback? I mean, maybe, although they brought in Boomer after Sam Wyche had come back, and Sam Wyche, of course, had played under Paul Brown and Bill Walsh as a reserve quarterback. The late Sam Wyche came back to the Bengals in 1984, and that's when they drafted Boomer Esiason, as they were, they figured out, well, we let Bill Walsh go, but we got to bring in someone who was his protege. Wyche was the quarterback coach for the 49ers when they went to their first Super Bowl back in Super Bowl 16. By the way, little story about that. Wyche had been turned down applying for high school coaching jobs not long before Bill Walsh got the 49er job and called his old protege Sam, who said, "Do you want to come in?" The other story about Sam Wyche is that Paul Brown used to use the notebook that Sam kept when he was a backup quarterback for Cincinnati as an example that he'd show, this is how you take notes.
Right.
Because he was so diligent at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look at this guy, not even playing, and he's still taking notes. He's paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Coach in the making, as it turned out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like Brett Rippon. Anyway, do you want to play
Brett Rippon's still kicking around, man.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, for sure. Won't be for long, and then he'll be a coach. He's Kellen Moore, everybody. He always was Kellen Moore. Do you want to play the vision on Estimate? Or you want to wrap up on a Friday? What do you want to do, Mace?
Let's play the vision on Estimate before I mention that Brett Rippon has a decent chance to be the Chicago Bears backup quarterback or their number 3. He could get a start on that coaching career as someone who's in the ear of Caleb Williams as his career gets going. So, yeah,
pretty good on his resume.
Yeah, maybe Brett Rippon is a future Broncos coach. We'll see.
Someday. We shall see.
Let's talk. Is he behind Jim Leonard on that list?
Oh, well behind Jim Leonard. Davis Webb is the guy. Davis Webb and Jim Leonard. Those two are future head coaches.
Yeah, the thing with Davis is his rise and being an offensive coach may mean he's going somewhere else to take that next step in his career. I don't know if he dislodges Pete Carmichael / Joe Lombardi because those two have such a history with Sean Payton as well.
Right. But you'd be happy for Davis Webb to go on to be an offensive coordinator or something somewhere else. But he is a fast riser in this league.
It wouldn't surprise me if in the next 5 years we're talking about Davis Webb being the youngest head coach in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to plant my flag on that one.
Okay. Well, let's play Sean Payton talking about his vision for Audric Estime.
The first vision would be first and second down runner. I'm always hesitant to just say someone's third down. We'll kind of see how that unfolds, but he's strong. I think he has real good vision, contact balance. He was one of the higher graded backs after contact. He's a physical player, and we always try to look at comps, and I don't want to do that with him. But man, he is a first and second down runner who I think is strong and has pretty good feet for his size, and played with a real good front, a pro type offense. So he'll have experience relative to the schemes, both under center and in the shotgun. And again, it's always difficult. A lot of times we'll have close friends and family ask, like, why'd you take a runner? You already have it. And it's like, this is an entirely different process that's really factored in with value, going into it a lot.
Value-based drafting. Audric Estime will be out there. We won't get to see the power until the preseason. But Mace, we'll get to see the Broncos. tomorrow on Saturday.
Yes. Say Saturday, because tomorrow never comes. It's always today. It's always today.
Okay, I almost went into Garth Brooks moment there. Tomorrow never comes.
It doesn't.
Will she know how much I love her?
Yeah.
There you go. That's right.
You know, in Annie, the sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Well, tomorrow never comes. So, you know, is she ever right, or is she never wrong? Depends on your perspective. We're all just left guessing.
Always. Well, we will be out there for you, and we're going to do a Saturday OBT. It's become a thing, Mace. But we're going to tell everyone what we see at rookie minicamp. And if you haven't been able to tell during the show, I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
You and me watching football together, man.
Yeah. Look, this is why I always have that tinge of sadness at the last Senior Bowl practice. And then a few weeks before that, the last Broncos practice. But at least at the last Broncos practice, like, okay, well, in a few weeks, we're going to be sitting there at the shrine seeing the next generation. You know, we're seeing Blake Watson.
Woo!
And then we get to the Senior Bowl, and we're seeing Bo Nix.
Woo!
Nice.
I just had to.
You just have that always queued up now, don't you?
Yes.
There's your answer. Oh.
Can't wait. Need to get that gif. Anyway, he is Andrew Mason. And Mace, before we're out of here, and make sure to stay tuned for that Saturday OBT. How do people help us out on YouTube?
Very simple. You can like.
You can comment.
You can share.
You can subscribe.
And you can hit that notification bell
so that you can never miss a vid. Man, I'm dropping the ball. I'm dropping the ball, Mace.
Is it too much to ask the comments be nice?
As the channel grows,
you get
to grow. You just get more of that, so it's fine. It's fine. That's fine. You're, you know, I'm always up for debate and conversation. If you're going to be personal or attacking style, then I'm not gonna respond to that. So anyway, we're here to talk about the truth of the Denver Broncos. The truth is, there's some hope. There's some excitement, Mace, for sure.
Palpable hope, and this. I mean, we get a glimpse at that this weekend. Now, we're not going to sit here and panic if there's, you know, an interception, all that. Look, there will be some mistakes. There will be bumps along the way. There will be bumpy games. Even if Bo Nix is the week 1 starter and starts the entire year, you know, there's going to be a couple of stinkers, even if it's a good season for Bo Nix.
Yep.
So our goal here, while we're going to analyze everything that happens and break down things to a pretty high degree from day to day, one thing we're going to try to do here is keep the focus on the big picture. So, speak for myself. I think I speak for you. If Bo Nix has a bad day, we're not going to be sitting there saying the sky is falling. He's not the guy. We're looking for we're looking for the broader sample size. We're looking for patterns. We're looking for general trends. That's what we'll be focused on, not so much the ups and downs of the day-to-day. Although we will talk about the ups and downs of the day-to-day because that's, you know, that's part of just chronicling it. At denversports.com, when we get to training camp, there's going to be a daily piece on what Bo Nix did in practice. But it's going to be written with a long-term lens because I'm writing it.
There you go. And that's what you got to focus on. If you're a Broncos fan, think of the long term, think of the excitement, think of Bo Nix. We'll be there for you. He's Andrew Mason. Follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying OBT is a BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and stay frosty.